and gentlemen, and welcome to today's TopRail UIC event delivered by ETOA. My name is Tim Fairhurst, and I'm joined today by Carles Casas from TopRail, and I'll hand over to him now. Carles, good morning.
Good morning, Tim. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure as chairman of TopRail UIC group devoted to tourism and rail, and the strategic planning director of FGC to greet you all from Barcelona for this very special broadcast.
My dear colleagues, dear friends on tourism and rail. I'm István Újhelyi, Vice Chair of the TRAN Committee in the European Parliament and Special Ambassador of the UNWTO, the UN World Tourism Organization. First of all, I would like to thank to UIC and the ETOA for the opportunity to share my thoughts on sustainability, tourism and travel, especially on trains, and the possibility of increasing the role of rail tourism in the near future. I completely agree with the organizers on the aim of this webinar, to raise awareness and to encourage engagement between rail sector and trade actors in order to promote rail travel in the context of leisure tourism for European citizens and inbound visitors. We are in the middle of the COVID crisis, where all the EU institutions work hard to restart the travel and tourism industry in the most sustainable manner during the summer. The crisis showed exactly how to be prepared. We need a coherent long-term strategy on tourism with available financial tools and with a stronger European governance. As I always ask my colleagues, we have to create one European Tourism Union. Investing in rail will facilitate the latest developments of digitalization to have end-to-end ticketing system which could help the long distance and international rail services. This innovation also allows smart product development, combining rail with other elements, local accommodation services, not well-known destinations in proximity, availability or rural remote areas. We should see all the challenges in the mirror of the European Union Green Deal. Supporting the green transition will be followed by behavior changes both for consumers and for business as well. The support of collective transport, both public and private, is crucial, and having more investments for the high-speed rail within Europe. Let me mention two excellent programs where I was one of the main initiators and mentors in the European Parliament and in the European bubble. The European Capital of Smart Tourism, where European cities could compete on several categories: accessibility, sustainability, digitalization, and cultural heritage and creativity. This program recognizes outstanding achievements in smart tourism in European cities. Smart tourism responds to new challenges and demands in a fast-changing sector, including the evolution of digital tools, products and services, equal opportunity and access for all visitors, sustainable development of the local area, and support the creative industries and the local talent and heritage. After the successful years, the Commission decided to continue this program. The deadline is 16 June. I ask you to spread your words in your network to have more and more cities on board. The second program is about travel by train for young generation. This is the Discover EU, an initiative of the European Union that gives opportunity to discover Europe through learning experiences. Traveling predominantly by rail, people can discover Europe's stunning landscapes and its variety of cities, cultures, and citizens by using a low-emission sustainable transport mode. The Discover EU offers the opportunity to participate in a travel experience that enables youngsters to take advantage of the freedom of movement throughout the European Union, explore the diversity of Europe, learn about European cultural heritage and history, and connect with people from all over the continent. Furthermore, Discover EU enables participants to develop life skills of value to their future. During the pilot phase of the program between 2018 and 19, nearly 350,000 young people applied for the almost 70,000 travel passes available over 4 application rounds. As a result of the European Parliament's successful negotiation strategy, the Discover EU became integral part of the Erasmus Plus program, which means that the sound financial background is provided for the period of 2021 till 2027. Last but not least, I mentioned at the beginning the importance of governance in tourism on European level. I'm convinced that the proper combination of real travel and tourism can help to create the European Tourism Union. Thanks a lot for kind attention. I hope we will see each other soon personally. Thank you.
As we emerge from the current health situation, it is important that we are able, as railway community, to regain our business, increasing our attractivity, not forgetting the leisure travel segment. The railways have been and will continue to be a very friendly mode of transportation. Our trains and services are safe, comfortable, and efficient. But COVID-19 pandemic affected the confidence of the traveling public, and it is crucial to restore and regain their confidence. We need that people feel safe from a health point of view on board our trains and stations. The measures required range from enhanced cleaning and in-train airflow, and the need to ensure that people are able to feel sufficiently distanced when on board. All these are already being addressed, namely when people are traveling on holiday, perhaps in a family group and with luggage. But we need to do more. With careful planning for these various conditions and challenges, it is indeed possible that we can encourage people to return to using the railways and also to encourage new travelers to use the trains. We must communicate all the benefits of travel by train: environment, space, connectivity, freedom of movement, and encourage people to say, "I'll use the train and leave the car at home." Renewed safer stations and trains, integrated ticketing and door-to-door service, or complementary commercial services will generate a better perception from our clients, and we must increase our efforts on these aspects. Using long-distance, regional, or commuter trains should be the preferred customer's choice. Increasing our offer on night trains and leisure segments, promoting thematic trains linked with history, culture, regional tourism, or gastronomy shall be effective ways to work on. We have well-dimensioned networks. We have excellent trains. We have beautiful and comfortable stations. We can increase the quality of our commercial offer, and we can improve our efficiency. Our main objective for the time being must be to regain our clients' confidence and increase significantly our market share. During 2021, the European Year of Rail, we will have the right opportunity to link the railways with the Green Deal and decarbonization strategies. It is the right time to communicate, to open our stations, to promote our transport services and respond to the change our society needs and the future of humanity asks for. So, let's do it.
Needs to be better integrated. All of that took place and was true before the COVID crisis hit. Now we are towards the end of the pandemic. We're going to be in a period when we are managing through a situation where COVID is present, but at a low level, it's manageable. And I think we heard a very clear statement from Francisco that rail is safe. Our ability to reassure consumers, business clients and so forth that rail services can be delivered in a safe way is very strong. So in this European Year of Rail, yes, we want to encourage more leisure passengers and so forth, but Carles, I wonder what your reflections are, both wearing your TopRail hat and as someone who's closely involved in mobility in a very vibrant region of Europe. How are you addressing the opportunity of getting confidence back in the railways and making sure that it's a safe experience? Over to you, Carles.
Thank you, Tim, for the question and the topic you aroused. It's true that the rail industry as a transport operator have made a huge effort to guarantee safety on their services and to keep everything rolling, particularly on urban areas, but also long distance. Rail has been part of the essential services that allowed us in the different countries to overcome the crisis. So I wished also to pay my respects to all the staff that was on first line during this crisis. And regarding tourism specifically, it's really a great message to see the commitment from European institutions and also the UIC towards rail as a way to promote sustainable tourism options, and not just sustainable, but also safe tourism options. All the initiatives taken by rail as a public transport mode, they also extend to the tourist services, and we are seeing that confidence is increasingly overcoming the perception and the behaviors linked to the pandemic and the crisis. At least in Europe, there's a feeling, a will of the population to get over this crisis. So bringing them opportunities which are safe and also they are aligned, which are the priorities now, is undoubtedly one role that the tourism sector, the rail sector, can perform within this context, and not only in Europe. I think that that's a global approach. Here it's true that these initiatives they show the support, but we also see similar initiatives all over the world to say tourism as an alternative, rail as an alternative to provide this sustainable tourism. So, in my view, from the different operators that we have at UIC, I think that this is a transversal approach, not just in excuse me, in Europe, and that the crisis we should turn it into an opportunity to really highlight these characteristics of the rail offer and to attract customers to our services and to our sector.
Well, that's very encouraging, Carles. And again, I'd like to echo what you said about all the hard work that's been done throughout the tourism sector. Rail is absolutely integral. And as Istvan told us in the first intervention, restoring confidence in collective transport is a strategic necessity for us. It is what urban mobility depends on. And what we saw during last summer when holidays started to pick up again, there was a lot more use of private transport. That's not a trend that we want to consolidate. It cuts across the EU Green Deal and all the other ambitions for more efficient and green mobility. So with that thought, and I'd like to apologize to you in the audience if my intervention is unclear. My internet is not very stable this morning, but thinking about the EU Green Deal and our colleagues in the European institutions, TopRail, of course, has some very dominant and strong operators within the European transport stakeholder network. And what we'd like to do now is play some more interventions from the European stakeholders of TopRail, and then Carlos and I will reflect on those later. So over to the videos from Eurail, SNCF, Trenitalia, and finishing with the Australian Railways, OBB.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me here today. I'm Carlo Boselli, General Manager of Eurail, the company owned by more than 35 European railway and shipping companies, which is responsible for the management of the Eurail and Interrail passes, providing unlimited, flexible rail travel across 33 countries in Europe. Established over 6 years ago, the Eurail scheme marked the beginning of a long-lasting cooperation between European railways to provide leisure rail products. The collaborative spirit which led to the foundation of the Eurail multi-stakeholder scheme evolved to adapt to the competitive environment, but is still strong. Our main challenge is that our product needs to be designed to satisfy the needs of different geographic, demographic, and behavioral segments in the leisure travel market. Eurail distributes Eurail and Interrail passes worldwide, both through its official web shops as well as via a limited number of distributor partners worldwide. Recently, during COVID times, we launched a new centralized distribution system and a mobile solution of our products, which enables more flexibility for the customer, the railway participating in the Eurail and Interrail schemes, and more flexibility for the distributors. This has been a real milestone for Eurail and for the whole railway industry, allowing travelers for the first time to buy a pass last minute online and to simply download a free dedicated app and get access to the railway network of 33 European countries with just one pass. In order to enable carriers and distributors to sell Eurail and Interrail passes and add value to customers, Eurail has also developed a new version of its ticketing system, ETS, allowing tour operators, ticket windows, and retailers to issue also mobile passes on the spot. Completing the distribution offer, the easy-to-implement API solution provided by Eurail allows medium to large-size distributors to automate the sales process of Eurail and Interrail passes via our distribution platform more efficiently, more smoothly, and with stricter controls on frauds. This ecosystem aims at further supporting the modal shift to rail in two complementary ways: by multiplying the access ways to international rail products, thanks to the improved distribution system, and by simplifying their fruition and reduce potential adoption barriers, such as the need to purchase multiple tickets to travel across multiple countries, thanks to the newly launched digital passes. I would like to finish by recalling that, according to our surveys, the large majority of our customers would not have traveled by train if the pass wouldn't have been there. This is a clear indicator of our contribution to a more sustainable mobility for leisure travelers in Europe. Thanks for your attention today, and I hope to see you all in person very soon.
My name is Fabrice Morenon, and I am the Managing Director of SNCF Upsend Connection, a dedicated subsidiary of SNCF Group in charge of managing stations internationally. We operate the Monaco-Monte Carlo station. We welcome 7 million visitors each year in the station. A large part of them are tourists who want to visit Monaco or to attend one of the cultural or sports events that occur in Monte Carlo. Last week, for instance, we had the stake to welcome in the station the visitor who attended the Classic and E-Grand Prix. At this occasion, we have implemented a dedicated setup to respect the barrier gestures and the sanitary safety of the passenger. Everything went well, and it was an achievement. As we all expect better situation with the vaccine, we have to look forward to get ready for the restart of the economy and consequently to have new travel patterns. SNCF is looking forward to welcoming passengers back to France and other international destinations by train in complete safety. SNCF is also committed to giving everyone the freedom to travel easily while protecting the planet. You know, traveling by train is the most sustainable and environmentally friendly mode of transportation. The train is safe and green. And in a nutshell, I just want to tell you one thing. We are eager to welcome you in our train and in our station this summer. See you.
Ciao a tutti e buongiorno a tutti. Good morning to everyone. After this period of transition, we notice people wish to travel again more than the past. People want to go not only the big city of ours in Italy, but they prefer to go in the little town in the south of Italy, islands, Sicily, for example. And for this reason, we are working to offer new connection, new product, new fares, close to this new behavior and wish of our clients. We see that there is a request from the international clients coming, for example, from Germany, Swiss, England, France, and we hope that in the future clients coming overseas will come back again in this in our country. And why in this moment there is more request to travel by Trenitalia, by train? Because we work and we worked very hard to be safety for our client. We have introduced some weeks ago, for example, the first train COVID-free. That is the first case in Europe. And we see, for example, that people want to travel by the charter, exclusive train, for example, with Frecciarossa, and we have more than 250% of increase before 2019. And we work very hard to with the rail, and one country, Italy, is the best product that rail is, and for example, we have a product like Trenitalia Pass that in this moment is very interesting for the international market. So the important thing is in this moment to think out the box. New product, new fare, new connection, because the behavior of the client is changing.
Hello, my name is Kurt Bauer. I am head of the long distance services here at ÖBB, and in the back you can see our newest carriage.
Hello everybody, my name is Christoph Hinterleitner. I'm currently the head of the pricing and revenue management department from ÖBB in Austria.
This carriage contains PRM facilities, bicycle carriage facilities, and also private compartments. This wagon will come into service most likely in September this year. It is the first step in renewing our nightjet fleet. Next year we will see totally new trains coming into service, which then also will have additional facilities like very private compartments for budget travelers.
In the last few years, there were a lot of promising initiatives already started, such like OSDM. It's self-evident that our customers are trying to get their train tickets in a very easy way without any barriers. Grown over the last decades, there are a lot of different price systems, tariff systems, distribution systems existing in Europe. And they are creating an overwhelming complexity for our customers. So let's try to get out of this vicious circle.
I'm very happy that we've got this project ongoing, and the expansion of the nightjet network is continuously going on and growing. And I think this can really make a change in the transport and travel industry. This is our strategy to expand our existing nightjet network into a European-wide network by 2025 with our cooperation partners.
We should apply the same principles which is existing for the airline sector also to the rail sector. There is only Europeanization or globalization when we have standardization. So let's go to work. Today, for tomorrow, for us.
Thank you very much. That was very inspirational from my perspective, and not a little sad to see that we haven't been in trains without masks for so long, but we're looking forward to getting back again, of course, Carlos. I thought some of the messages there were very encouraging about innovation, as well as about new product across not just the journeys, but the type of services that are provided. And it's interesting to see that night trains again are a hot topic, and it's certainly something that the operators that we work with are certainly interested in as the future of rail tourism develops over coming years. So Carlos, your reflections on what we heard there, please.
Yeah, Tim, I share your view that those were very inspiring messages, and I wanted to thank them for contributing. There's a change, I think, in the approach of from large companies and corporations to even local rail companies to the tourist sector. And that change is because the potential of this market has been identified, not only to fulfill sustainability goals or to provide with just green tourism, but also from the perspective of profitability of these companies. It's a market that had been probably unattended over the recent years. Probably companies were focused more on moving trains and being efficient and performant, but not thinking enough on the specificities of this market and its potential. So what we're seeing here is a rethinking of classical products, applying innovation, but without losing the elements that are attractive to rail, so just enhancing this existing potential. There are also challenges, and European Year of Rail, it's putting us in face of these challenges, boundaries, technical and administrative boundaries, the lack of interoperability. That's undoubtedly hindering further development of these products. And I think that, Tim, from your perspective, more from the tourist sector, probably you are surprised at all the internal barriers that we ourselves as a sector are still keeping in this development. How do you see the potential and these fences that we are placing ourselves?
Well, I mean, I think the recognition that those barriers are there, I think is the important first step. I think everyone understands that the railways are huge organizations and they can't just change overnight. What we're going to hear later on in discussion with our colleagues from TopRail all over the world later on today is that it's really a question of working out what can we do short term, but what's the direction of travel? You know, are we going to get end-to-end ticketing, which is going to expedite cross-border services? You know, how will the distribution network align better with the technical capacity of the railways to work with each other? We know already that there are issues between, you know, the same journey can be bought through various different platforms, different railway distribution systems, and that itself causes some market challenges. But I think the recognition that there are some challenges there is strong. And I've been very encouraged in the TopRail meetings I've attended over the last few years that there's a real appetite to work out how to be more user-friendly from a B2B perspective as well as a consumer perspective. And I think it's working on both those axes, B2B and consumer, where I'm very encouraged. And I think TopRail provides a very good forum for having the discussions which will allow more leisure business to come our way. And before I add another reflection, I must correct an earlier remark I said and apologize to my good friend Carlos at Eurail, because I think I misdescribed Eurail as Eurostar, which I'm sure is just a subliminal message from me that I'm missing my journeys on the train because I would normally be backwards and forwards to Brussels on the Eurostar very often. But we've heard the voices from Europe. There'll be a chance for us to talk a little bit more about that later, Carles. But in order to compare and contrast, I think it would be interesting now to hear some voices from around the world, including our colleagues at Amtrak in North America, JR East in Japan, and we have also got the non-EU but very European voice of SBB at the end. So 3 more videos to follow.
When the coronavirus locked down the world, we kept moving on the front lines every day, opening our doors, getting those needed to travel where they needed to go. While many of you were taking care of business safely from home, we were working hard, creating a new standard of travel. We strengthened our cleaning practices, putting your health and safety above all else, enhancing the customer experience all along the way. We never stopped improving our service or investing in the future. So when you're ready to travel again, we'll be there, helping you get away to one of 500 destinations. Spend time with a friendly face, jumpstart your career, or just embrace someone you love. Amtrak, connecting America for 50 years.
Hello everyone, I'm Yasunari Nakajima from East Japan Railway. I'll explain about our new challenge today. JR East got a huge damage by COVID-19. It is still continued. We forecasted future after 10 years and has already prepared. However, COVID-19 suddenly blinked in half a year, but we don't change our long-term vision because we believe we can overcome it by accelerating existing approaches and creating new service. It is quoted from JRE's long-term vision, Move Up 2027. It was made by 2018, 2 years before Corona pandemic. We are implementing to connect city and regional area by transport network, like this slide. We commit to make regional area more affluent by railway power. You can find lots of keywords in this slide for improving tourism and regional society. As a railway operator, JR East has a mission of adding value to train and transportation, making regional society more active through tourism, to manage station more convenient and comfort. We will make customer and society more affluent as an operator like this way. As a company working with society, we need to increase value during their trip. We need to provide comfortable and attractive time and space. And we have to make people more smile by luxury train and joyful trains. JR East has a variety of joyful trains. Joyful train transform rail travel from a mere transportation way into one of the purposes of their travel. And it energized the connected city and regional area by many smiles. Joyful train will change train trip to customer purpose from mere mobility way. JR East will contribute to society by maximizing the value of railway and proposing new lifestyle to all customers. This document, which will be distributed later, contains links to various information sites. Please click to get a better understanding. Thank you for your kind attention.
In the future, aircraft will use alternative and sustainable propulsion systems to connect our cities. E-mobility will finally become a reality for everyone, and autonomous driving will revolutionize the way we travel. Up until then, we'll continue to be ahead. Travel to Europe even more conveniently now with the new ICE TGV Lyria and Gerino. Enjoy greater comfort when traveling, more luggage storage, a modern onboard restaurant, Wi-Fi, and much more. For the next generation, the new international SBB trains, as comfortable as they are climate friendly.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, Switzerland is known worldwide for its unique mountain landscapes and hospitable cities. And yes, also for its railway, which usually works like the unique Swiss clockwork. This Swiss railway system is a railway hub per excellence for both freight and passengers in the middle of Europe. Since the end of last year, the flat and fast railway through the Alps has been a reality. What could be more natural, therefore, than to bring rail and sustainability even closer together? The effects of COVID-19 have clearly shown us the loss of long-distance commuters, but also the potential of leisure traffic. We are therefore working even more closely with our partners in the tourism. Together, we can achieve our sustainability, mobility, and revenue goals. We will get this with more information, collaboration, and bookable combined transport and vacational offers, alongside with affordable prices and customer-friendly solutions for additional services. If we succeed together in moving more customers from car to rail, we will have achieved our goal. satisfied customers who travel sustainably to the most beautiful landscapes in the world. As Swiss Federal Railways, we are making our contribution to this, together with our partners. For example, with the Grand Train Tour of Switzerland, that combines the most spectacular panoramic trains and destinations in our country. Here are a few impressions.
Well, how nice to see those wonderful panoramic trains once more, and to see Lake Lucerne from those wonderful SPV videos, and to hear from colleagues in North America and Japan. Carlos, I think one of the reflections we'll be taking to this afternoon's event as we have our masterclass with colleagues from the travel industry, as well as from the railway operators throughout Europe and around the world this afternoon, is how can we make this appealing to the consumers once more?
Yeah, that's undoubtedly one of the key questions, because as it was said in some of the videos, competition is there, it exists, and we cannot just, as a railway sector, sit on our potential and see how, as we are, can offer green solutions, green options, and very nice trains, customers are going to come and fill our trains, and we are going to become this option. So there's a lot of work. I think that's these reflections and these messages highlight the importance of international cooperation, both within the sector, like we are trying to do within a TopRail group, but also cross-sector with other institutions like this broadcast with ETOA and other initiatives. So we need to develop and strengthen this collaboration in order to keep pursuing. And another message or another element that I would like to highlight is that railways, we are lucky within this sector, because there's an element that's quite unique to railways, which is it's linked to emotions. Railways are quite emotional for those visiting or traveling on them. It arouses elements that go beyond, I would say, intellect or rational elements when you are traveling on a train, but not only traveling, also emotions while seeing a train pass by. The message it transmits, it's something very emotional, or even the link with the communities that are served with these services. Being chairman of TopRail, I've been able to experience it firsthand, and the strong link between communities and train services. It's something that really hits you when you see all these commitments. So this is an element, as I said, I think it's unique to rail, and that we should treasure it, and we also should build on it in order also to develop. So that I think that we should work a lot and build on these potentials.
Oh, and I think you're right. It's not just rational; it's emotional, and certainly, if you talk to the leisure tourism industry, a lot of the work that's been done through the past year is to make people keep thinking about the destinations, even though they cannot leave home for the time being. And that brings us to another area I'd like to just discuss briefly, is the relationship we all have with destinations. because one of the things that we're all considering now is that the patterns of life have changed. The way people go to work has changed. They may simply be staying at home and turning on the screen. So when we're looking at how the railways are being used, that's changing. The patterns of commuting is changing. And the sorts of experience that we expect tourists to want are also changing. So what was previously seen as appealing and fun and crowded, people are definitely looking for more rural experiences. And we think there's an opportunity from the travel industry's perspective to be staying in different places, using the railways to access cities. It's very convenient. You don't sit in traffic, but maybe stay somewhere outside the city. So it feels like there is an opportunity in collaboration with destinations to see if it's possible to, for the leisure tourism industry to complement the demand that we're receiving from the people who live in the territory. And I wonder how you see that evolution. So that requires a lot of policy integration, because it's tourism development, it's also transport development, as well as all the other planning considerations that go into infrastructure. So your thoughts on how leisure demand complements the demand from the resident community. Carles, over to you.
Yeah, here we have a broad range of situations and opportunities, I would say. Obviously, I think that there's a lot of complementarity between the needs of a railway system that's already offering mass transportation and very efficient long-distance connections, and the needs of these tourist destinations. And just to see a couple of situations in which this collaboration should be pursued and achieve some very nice results. For example, we are talking in many cities that are being overcrowded with tourists. So rail can play an essential role on expanding the points of interest and decrowding these very touristicized downtown areas. Another example is as I mentioned before, the link between communities and the local and regional railways. There are lots of combined tourist products which link not just the rail or the trip by itself and its panoramic or scenic views, but also this contact between local industry and local attractions and the rail as an element suing all this territory. And this has an effect on one side on the tourism business directly, that's a direct effect, but it also has a long-term enduring effect on the population in these areas. It contributes on keeping local economies and local activities. So rail becomes also an element of sustainability in the terms of preserving a population in these rural and low-density areas. And that's something I think we see all over the world, not just in Europe, how the presence of rail is contributing on preserving also these populations, their attractiveness and their local industries and businesses. So I think those were just a couple of situations on which leisure by rail can contribute also, and it's complementary to the other roles that rail system is meant to perform and within the global economy and logistics and the society, in order to achieve this greener and more sustainable structure in the near future that's so required.
Hi, Carles. Again, I'm sorry, my internet connection is interrupting, so I hope you can hear me. Perhaps you can nod if you can. But thank you very much. I think that's extremely insightful, and to me, that just gives a very clear illustration of how important it is we don't stay in our own little bubbles. So there's no point in tour operators just talking to tour operators. Tour operators need to talk to destinations, they need to talk to their contracting partners, whether they're hoteliers or railway operators, or indeed intermediaries who can help with railway leisure product distribution. So I think, we're now in a position where there is a lot of common interest. We all know that we're heading towards, certainly from a European perspective, carbon neutral 2050, and there's certainly an ambition to get down to 55% of 1990 levels by 2030. So I'll be saying more about this later this afternoon, but the EU's ambition, are we fit for 55%? I mean, these are very ambitious targets. And to the extent that the railways are dependent on electricity, it's very closely linked into all the various regulatory initiatives around green electricity in Europe. And that will affect the infrastructure generally, because people need to on electricity and all the networks need to be electrified. I know a great deal of work has been going on across the railway world globally in order to move to clean electricity. And as sustainability is one of the central policy elements, certainly from a European Union perspective, and strong language from the US, from China, from the UK, ahead of COP26, I thought we might close this bit of the discussion just reflecting on how we see that the railways are aligning with the green transition. Over to you, Carlos.
Yeah, just to build on what you were saying, I would also want to highlight that, okay, all these targets, all these big targets and these ambitions, they are set at the broad level, and industry as a whole is responding and providing alternatives. But in the end, what we are dealing also is with individual choices from our customers or visitors or travelers. So we should not, I think I wanted to insist on, we should not just buy our green energy and electrify our lines and expect then the customers also to come to our systems. We should be more ambitious than that and more active than that. We should be innovative in our commercial approach to our customers, in our communication policies and campaigns. We should also talk more with each other and provide this broad view of the sector and the opportunities. And then I think we could really influence on these individual decisions on destination choices, on mode choices when traveling, etc. So it's an industry approach, but also focusing on these small individual choices that in the end are the ones that would make our sector not just green, but also competitive and sustainable by providing solutions which are really according to the demands of the passengers, which are increasingly going in this direction also. You mentioned before experience. Experience is more and more becoming part of the demands of the traveler, and traveling by train is already an experience by itself. There are limited numbers of people inside the train, so there's already some level of exclusivity. It's not overcrowded, a tourist train. So building this experience approach together with the green approach and the rest of the potential, the contact with local communities, as I mentioned, I think that's something very solid, and we should develop from there, not just state that and wait for people to realize. Because if we keep waiting, we've been waiting as industry for too many years, I would say. We come from tradition at the railway industry. We like to be very traditional in some aspects. That's also part of our, let's say, charm to some extent. It also provides us with this solid performance and regarding also safety issues, as we proved during the pandemic. But we should not rely too much on this tradition. We should combine this tradition with innovation, as it was mentioned, and in order to develop this competitiveness that will bring individual choices to our products.
Well, I think that's a very positive sentiment on which to end this morning's discussion. Carlos Casas, thank you very much for your insight, and to all our colleagues who've been listening in, thank you. Apologies for any IT glitches along the way. It was a fascinating survey of the views of the railway operators from around the world, and we look forward to continuing this dialogue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.